Hello everyone, this is Stas and this is my new TouchDesigner tutorial. This time we wouldn't do anything with ray marching or even with GLSL. We will stay on operators level. And we will do the trails that comes from this SOP geometry and keep these trails in texture operators. And in the end you will have this medusa-ish thing, and you can look it from different directions. But first of all, thank you to my Patreon supporters, and I bought a new microphone and I hope now the sound is better. But let's begin. I will leave this here now and make everything from scratch. Let's take a arc ball camera because it's very nice to look the result from different angles. So we have 1280, 720, that's okay. Yeah, everything is okay. We don't need this too, we don't need this, and don't need this one, and maybe put it like this, and I don't need box as well, and I'll move it everything somewhere. So first of all, let's create our geometry. Let's take a sphere. Let's put it as a polygon with, I don't know, 5 frequency. Then we will transform this. Maybe we will do something else. I don't know yet. So in the end, we will put our null. Where is it? Here is it. And we need, for example, a constant chop to keep our settings. We will call this channel as number points, and it should show us points from this operator. Let's call it for top. Okay. So operator for top dot num points. Yeah, it works. And also we need a trail, and let's start from, I don't know, we have FPS set at 60, so let's make our trails 2 seconds long. Okay. Now we need to convert it to top, but we couldn't do it straight away, so first we can convert it to chop. We need only position, and then we convert it to top. And data format, it should be RGB. Here we need 32 float. So here's our chop. It's the same resolution, the same amount of points like in our top. And we need also a transparent background. We set alpha to 0, and as a resolution we need to set number of points as our width and trail length as our height. And we add this. add. We don't need fill, we set it to native resolution and justify vertical to the top. And also we need to set smoothness to nearest pixel. So let's move our sphere with a noise chop, for example. So we need 3 channels, T, X, Y, Z. We need a time slice and amplitude, let's say it to, I don't know, 5. Our sphere is radius 1, maybe we set it to radius 0.5 and translate position. And I don't want to watch this thing and this one as well, it's a bit distracting. And here we have our top in the look, our top now represent the position of the sphere. Okay, so to need to create a trail effect, we will use a feedback. So let's set a feedback loop. We need a feedback and let's keep it simple, just to transform and translate it, set it to pixels and translate it -1 pixel. So as you can see, now our position is 1 pixel downwards. And let's set it to over, put it like this. Yeah, probably we need like this. And set it to, as a target for our feedback. We also don't need a fill, we need a native resolution. And for all of our operators, we need the nearest pixel. Okay. So that's basically it for a very beginning. Let's create another sphere which would work as our instance. Let's set it to polygon and radius maybe down to, I don't know, probably something like this. It goes to geometry. We need our instance. And by the way, I'm using the experimental build of TouchDesigner, which have a nice new menu for instancing. If you're using a stable build, what you will need to do is to convert top to chop, and if you use some other tops, then you will need to add a merge. For example, if you have a top for the scale and top for the something else, you will set a merge, and maybe null as just a good practice, and instance from a chop, which would be RGB. Something wrong here. Where is it? Float. Oh, here we have it. We need 32 bits float as well. And now it should. No, still not. Why is it? Oh, and we need to reset our feedback. Yeah, so it works. And where is our trails? And we don't have our trails because I forgot to set top 2 as not just the one row but the full image, and set shuffle with a method as a sequence channel by name. And we don't need actually the alpha channel here. So, and let's move back a little bit. So here we have it. But I'm using the experimental build, which have a nice option to use directly at top, and we don't need to spend quite a lot of CPU power and a little bit for shuffling. So if you have experimental, probably it's better to use it. And let's add a null. Here, by the way, you can add a null by pressing Alt plus N. And let's call it, oh, it's not a color, it's a position. It's our position. So we have our position and we have our trails back. And by the way, about this camera, here we have a custom menu called arcball, and if you press auto rotate and made it active, we can do like this. And now we have a problem. We have a light on goes only from one direction. So let's fix it. One way of doing this very simply, it's add a null, set it to null, and make the light look into it, and have another light, which would be set. Is first light is set to 10, and the second to -10. And now we have light coming from both directions. So if you want to look at this, you can watch it in geometry viewer. Where is our lights? We have one of our lights here and second our light here. Okay, we don't need this. And maybe set a little bit of color, just a bit orangey, and the second one is bluish, so we have a little tint. Okay, that's nice. And maybe let's move it a little bit slower. All right. And let's make the noise slower as well. So set period to I don't know, 5 seconds. Yeah, that's nice. So one problem we have here is that if we change our trail length to, for example, 200 points, it doesn't work well because our feedback is still have 120. So let's fix it by setting chop execute. Chop execute, we need, when value change, we need to reset. So to set it, reset pulse our feedback 1. Okay. So on value change, we, for operator feedback 1 bar reset pulse like this. Yeah, let's check it on 20. No, something is wrong. Object why is it? Oh, probably, yeah, maybe it's like this. Let's check. 180. Yeah, and it works. Now we have 180. If we change it to, I don't know, 200, we have a 200, so everything works. And if we change a number of points to, let's say, 6, it also works. And maybe we need our sphere a bit smaller. Yeah, something like this. Next, let's add a color to our instances. I want to do the single color for the whole length of the trail, so I don't need different colors in different parts of trails, and I don't want any particular colors now, so let's use noise and again set it to 32 and our resolution to number of points and 1. And we don't need monochrome, we want colors, we want some variations, times seconds 0.2, something moves slowly like this, and maybe put a scale down a bit. So let's look what we have now. We add a new, call it color, and set to our instance on instance 2 page. We have R, G and B, and everything disappear because all operators should be the same number of instances, and we definitely don't have the same numbers. So what to do with this? Let's add a ramp. Why ramp? I will tell you a bit later. First of all, but for now we want a ramp which doesn't look like a ramp, but instead it would be looking as a constant. And set the resolution. And again we need 32 bits float, and let's put a multiply, fill nearest pixel, and now everything works. But why I'm using ramp instead of constant? Because in my opinion it's better looking if we set the one end of a ramp as a dark, but it should be a vertical ramp. So in the end we have a darker color. It's not completely dark because in our font we have emit set to 2, so if we don't emit, this would be a completely black, and if we insert some operator, any, I don't know, transform, for example, comp over background, why you not working? Yeah. So it works, but everything is very, very, very dark. So let's add a level and I don't know, set gamma to maybe 4. And in the noise we also can set amplitude to 1. Yeah. And maybe we want a little bit of constant. Something like this. Let's actually use the math top instead of level. Let's use math and multiply it by 5, not 15, but 5. maybe 4. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that, but maybe a little bit more. And the less variation. Yeah, something like this. And also we have a uniform scale now, and we can fix it as well. How to fix it? Let's use the same ramp as a scale. The very same ramp. Set it to scale and put it into instances. Where is our scaling? Our scaling is here. And we can use the same channel. So yeah, now it's better. It's better, it's still a bit dark. Let's also add a dimmer for our light as well. And maybe comp node over completely black, but something. Yeah, good. What also feedback can make for us, if we put, for example, a math top here, we can do some crazy stuff. For example, if I set it to a little bit bigger, then our trails become more and more spready. And vice versa, I can make it go to a 1 point. Or I can do it for different channels, like this one. For some setups it could work fine, but for now I want our trail spread just a little bit. I don't know. No. Even smaller. What I also want to do is to make our thin Medusa, I don't know, to change size. For example, if our radius would change, go up and down and up and down and up and down, it works better. So let's have let me show you a couple of expressions. Here we have another scale, and I can set it to, for example, math sinus me time seconds, and it will look, the wave will look like this. It just sinusoid goes from -1 to 1, but we don't need -1 for our scale, so we can, and it goes very fast, so we can multiply it by, okay, let's just add. So now it goes from 0 to 2, and if we put it in the brackets and multiply by 0.3, now it goes from 0 to 0.3, and let's add 0.5, no, maybe 0.6. Yeah, or it's too much? Yeah, it's too much. 0.3. So now our function go from 0.3 plus 3, 0.3 to 0.6. And to make it look more interesting, instead of math scene me times seconds, we can use math sinus me times seconds plus math sinus me times seconds divided by 2. And now we have a little different trail, which is looking a little more organic. At least I think so. So let's export our scale. Let's export our scale. And we don't need this trail. And you know what? I don't want to use noise for color. Maybe I just want to use a simple ramp. Simple ramp with a single color. Again, we set number of points to 1, our resolution, nearest pixel, okay, and our colors would be going from something bluish to something bluish as well, but more darker. Yeah, it should work. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with that. And let's make it moves. So we need move in our phase. And actually we can use probably the same. No, it wouldn't work. Okay, let's just use math. Math sinus me times seconds. And set extend as mirror. And maybe multiply here by 0.3. Okay, so now we have almost the same thing as I had here. Is it? What? Something doesn't work. All operators should be okay. That's false. Oh, another trick I could show you. So it's noise, it's set to minimum. Okay. Another trick. Now we have all the trails with the same length. And maybe our Medusa lives for a couple of years and some of the tentacles were trimmed or eaten by some fishes, so their tentacles should be a different length. And one way of doing this, we should create not a ramp scale, but a little bit more noisy one. Let's use noise, and again we need to set our resolution 0.1. Here we need just a mono channel, 32 bits mono channel. And here let's set a composite top, and as far as I remember we set it to minimum and transform to input 1 and fill, and And what else? Nearest pixel. Nearest pixel. Is it right or no? It doesn't look right. Let me look again. What did I have here? Why? Oh, because we have a different ramp with opposite direction. Okay. Okay, that's no problem. Let's just add a level here and invert it. And now it works. And let's set it to our scale. So now we have a trails with different length, but it still doesn't look right. What is this? Why is this? Noise scale 1. Noise scale 1. Pum. Okay, let me copy this RAM and we will see what we have. Okay, if we use this ramp, it's working. No, it's still not working. Interesting. Oh, I have another composite. Okay, here we have this composite with minimum, and here we have this composite as overlay. Okay. Yeah, sometimes it's good to save your files and look what have you done. Actually, I done it, I don't know, 2 days ago, and I already forgot it. Okay. It's not problem, it happens. You're getting older, your memory doesn't work very well. Okay. No. This one. No. Oh. No. It's still something wrong. Overlay. Okay. Overlay. We need overlay. Not over, but overlay. Okay, now it looks right. That's funny. Maybe our trail is a bit too long. Okay, so we have our Medusa, and now I will show you a different ideas what you can make with this setup. First of all, if you don't use a sphere but you use, for example, a cube or a box instead. The problem with box is it has only not so much points, only 8 of them. But you can use a resample SOP and set into a max length, resample by polygon edge, display option, and now we have much more dots. How much exactly? 240. Yeah, that's okay. And let's rotate our cube. Me times seconds multiplied by, I don't know, 2. And let's copy paste it. Let's it rotate with different rate. I don't know, 5. Okay, we have our rotating cube, and let it move. And maybe rotate it much faster. I don't know, 9. 13, 20. Okay, and we have absolutely different, not absolutely, but different looking stuff. And by the way, you can use quite a lot of points. Let's say it would be 15. I still have 60 FPS. Maybe we need to make it a little bit smaller, like this one. Yeah. And even if I set my trails to, let's say, oh, now my FPS drops. Let me pause. But it's mostly because I'm using a sphere, which is quite heavy. If I change it to rectangle, 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 small rectangle, small rectangle. Let's change it to rectangle, even smaller. And with rectangle we have a million points, over a million points, and still we have 60 FPS, which is nice. And we can set crazy rotation by camera. And you can do a lot of tricks here. For example, yesterday I found a new operator called function top. Where is it? Here is it. And it can produce a very weird looking results. For example, if I set it to tangent, okay, degrees, and I have such a messy thing. Maybe let's set it. Okay, it doesn't look well. Anyway, you can explore all of possibilities here. Let me delete it now. Another thing you could do, let me close it. Another thing you can do, you can create a custom interface. For example, here I have, I need to reset it. Here I have a rotating cube, simply looking, and it's absolutely the same setup. I can create something like this, and because we have our settings stored in different operators, it's nice to make a custom parameters and put all settings here. And one trick I want to show you is this random. If you set the scale not as a ramp as we did there, but as random, it would be also a very nice looking thing. Yeah. And if you well with GLSL, then you can create a custom material, and instead of instances, you can create a real trace which works like lines, like I did here. Probably I'll put this example to my Patreon for my supporters, but if you don't want to be my supporter but still you want to do this, I will show you how it's made. So Here is just ending it's just ending spheres on the ends of the trails, and all the magic happens in this geo. I have a line, and the number of points for my line is equals same operator like we have before, like in resolution. And in geo, for instances, I have number of instances as a length of the number of points for the line is equals the number of trail, and the number of instances is equals to number of points in geometry. And by the way, I don't use geometry here. I'm making it just from noise, because you don't need geometry. Geometry is good if you're creating a cube or a sphere and you don't want to understand how to create a sphere in top. But if you create a noise, like here, it's okay to start from tops. And in my shader, what I'm doing is, now I have, for example, a top, and I can change position of every instance according to this top, because it have a same resolution. The vertical lines would be a position for the lines, and horizontal lines would be a position for the instances. But anyway, I'll put it to my pattern. So yeah, probably that's it. Let's look at a little bit more for this majestic creature. And thank you for watching, and thanks again to my Patreon supporters. And leave a comment, and if you have any questions, ask me here or in Instagram. Oh, bye bye.